Hey y'all, Uncle Paul here, and it's time to get in the arena with Uncle Paul. Stay tuned.
These words will never let me go. Oh no, these words will never let me go.
The Houston metro area has over 7 million people, and yet only one unfiltered source of news. And that's Grizzy's Hood News. Grizzy Castillo has built a platform of dedicated followers, helping her solve cases, find missing people, and cover stories that the mainstream networks just won't cover. When my nephew went missing, Grizzy was the first and only for the longest time to help us. She's become a pillar in the community, and now she's got a podcast, Hood News Unfiltered with Grizzy, which you can watch Saturday mornings at 9:30 a.m. on Houston CW or anytime at grizzyshoodnews.com. Grizzy works tirelessly to bring us content, sometimes funny, sometimes heartbreaking, and sometimes dangerous, which is why we have to support her sponsors. Go to grizzyshoodnews.com and find out how you can advertise, follow her on all the major social media platforms, or watch her anytime at grizzyshoodnews.com. If it's real news, it's Hood News. That's grizzyshoodnews.com. Hey, y'all, Uncle Paul here. Hey, y'all, Uncle Paul here, and you're watching In the Arena with Uncle Paul. This week, I've got an interview that we did a few days ago with Crystal Lopez and my sister, two moms of missing loved ones, as well as Wendy and Ryan of Voices for Vanished, who have been by our side now for a year or so, if not longer. Sorry the episodes have been coming out a little later, but I had a lot to do last week. I worked a job that was kind of strenuous and long, or not so much strenuous, but just long. So I think I'm going to change the date that I dropped the show, and I'm also got new things in the works behind the scenes, including live streaming over Facebook and YouTube and possibly TikTok. So I'm working on a lot of things behind the scenes. Just bear with me. Thank you for supporting the show. Thank you for watching the show. Thank you for listening to the show. Thank you for subscribing. Please share the show with your friends. This is kind of or not kind of, but it is a passion project for me, and I greatly appreciate all the support that I get. So without further ado, here's my interview. I hope you enjoyed that interview. I say one other thing, and I'm gonna, let's see here. Bear with me here. I'm almost done. Ryan, can you hear me? Can everyone hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to get the clip ready that I wanted to show. I am recording this for a podcast. You're going to hear me talk to the audience that's not here, but they will be listening. Audience, I do have on the line here. I've got Crystal Lopez, her son, Jonathon Gio, is missing and has been for a number of years. We have Ryan and Wendy of Voices for Vanished. Wendy is also with First Priority Search and Recovery, who's been with us since the beginning in regards to AJ. I just wanted to do an episode kind of going over Crystal Lopez's case, Gio's missing, a disappearance, as well as talk about some updates in regards to ankle monitors in Harris County and some cases with Houston police, in addition to whatever Ryan and Wendy are working on currently. Everyone say hello to the audience. It's not here.
Hi, audience. Hello.
Hi.
Audience is not here. Love you.
I don't know where Connie's at. She was supposed to be here, but I'm going to try and play this. If it doesn't play on the first time, I'm not going to force it. I'm so over it. I'll just edit it into the podcast, but let's see if it'll play, because I just wanted to get your feedback on it.
Okay.
So we'll do here, share sound, share. Let me know if you can see. Can you see the YouTube video, or at least the?
Yes.
Awesome. Now let me know if you can hear it.
Investigates a potential threat to you
Yes.
and your family. We're talking about ankle monitors.
Yes, Harris County judges are ordering them more and more. And as investigative reporter Jeremy Rogowski discovered, many accused violent criminals thumb their nose at the system and are later charged with other crimes.
Why did this happen? Why did this happen to me? It could have happened to you.
Scott Brogan came home for lunch one afternoon, took a short nap, and ended up like this, beaten to a bloody pulp by a random intruder who made his way in.
I remember the face. I remember the eyes, and I can remember me screaming. This was not a breaking and entering. This was not to steal something. This was to murder somebody.
Police arrested Heriberto Cervantes and also charged him with assaulting another random stranger earlier the same day. In both cases, a judge released Cervantes on bond and ordered him to wear an ankle monitor. He's not alone. KHOU 11 Investigates found the number of accused felons on ankle monitors skyrocketed over the past 5 years, from just over 300 to more than 4,100. We wanted to know, how often do they violate their ankle monitor conditions? We tried to get an answer for months from the agency that monitors bond violations, but pretrial services could not come up with any number.
Our public deserves transparency.
And District Attorney Kim Ogg says she couldn't get any hard numbers either.
I think everybody's public safety is compromised until we really know the exact nature of the problem, and we don't.
So we did our own analysis of court records and found over a year's time, 37% of accused violent felons violated their ankle monitor conditions, and more than a quarter of those did so multiple times, by failing to comply with curfew hours, visiting a victim's home, tampering with a device, or letting the battery go dead.
Which means we have no idea where you are, period.
Andy Kahn is a victim's advocate with Crime Stoppers.
You're basically thumbing your nose, and you're saying, catch me if you can.
Take murder defendant Elijah Williams. He said his cut-up ankle monitor strap may have been caused after playing sports. Or aggravated assault defendant Mia Howard. She said she fell asleep at a Christmas party and her friend cut the device off as a joke. Or there's Jerry Jones, who stated it fell off after they were praying.
I'm sorry, because I've seen a lot of these before, and all I can do is just laugh in disgust.
It's comical on one hand, but
it's life-threatening on the other hand.
That's because some ankle monitor violators pick up new charges. In the year we analyzed, we found more than 200 arrested for crimes like family violence, robbery, or even murder.
This really hit home pretty hard.
Like the shooting death of Deputy Constable Omar Urson. Both men arrested in that case were on ankle monitors for previous murders.
That ankle monitor is not going to stop someone from killing again.
Back at the home of Scott Brogan,
failing to comply with curfew requirements.
His alleged attacker violated ankle monitor conditions 4 separate times. The judge never revoked his bond.
And he's out there. And he's still out there.
And the kicker, he's preparing an insanity defense.
When somebody tells you they're crazy and you don't do anything about it, that should terrify every single person in this city.
We have a lot of questions for the person in charge of Harris County Pretrial Services, but the head of that agency, Natalie Michaelides, declined multiple requests for an interview. Tomorrow night at 10, we break down which judges failed to issue arrest warrants for ankle monitor violators the most. Back to you.
Jeremy, thanks for the update.
Here's one thing you need to do before you buy.
And we're back. Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah.
What did y'all think of that? Opinions.
Freaking
Joe.
Yeah. I think that we've all been very, especially with AJ's case, we've all had our opinions of the pretrial ankle monitors and how does this stuff happen. And I think from looking at an alternate point of view of how does someone vanish on a pretrial ankle monitor, I think at the end of the day, they're giving these out way too freely. There's just way too many of them. They can't be monitored. Can't monitor 4,100 people. When looking into AJ's timeline, for example, there's days that are just missing. There's tampers and stuff that were reported. They were never looked into. So looking at it from that point of view, it's just like these people, like, how are they just giving these out so freely? What's the conditions for getting one of these things? I guess is my question.
Go ahead, Wendy. Did you have something to say? You were lighting up over there.
No, I was going to be a smart, you know what, but I decided to keep it in.
Go
mean,
ahead.
it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. We have on paper, and I'm sure AJ is not the only one that had alerts, had been where they were not supposed to be at all, violating their conditions. What did they do? Let's call a phone number. Come on, really? Because they're going to be like, oh, yeah, he's right here, or, whatever. Come on.
What the thing that frustrates me most about that is that policy dictates that they can't dispatch it. That's not the policy. The policy is literally that they call.
When did they stop that, or when did they start that policy?
Well, that policy exists for pretrial ankle monitors because technically they haven't been convicted of anything, so they're not criminals. And that's the sticking point.
On the side of that coin, though, we could go with, they thought AJ was enough of a threat to put that on. Why is he not on America's Most Wanted or Texas Most Wanted, or why is there not any warrants out for his arrest?
Well, there are, but it was
they're not posting like they do on, how on Facebook you can go through, and Harris County, like monthly or whatever, has their. I've not seen him.
Really?
Personally, I've not seen him on there.
Well, I'll definitely have to double check because I remember when Sean, for those that are listening, Sean is with First Priority Search and Recovery, as is Wendy. But Sean was the PI that was helping us in the beginning, especially. But when Sean came along, we had already been kind of in this for about a month. And Sean showed us the system where you can track to see if there's warrants. There was nothing. And then we started going viral on TikTok. This is 2 months now. And then all of a sudden there's a warrant. It's just like, and it's backdated.
Yeah.
It was backdated. And which I wish I would have gotten a screen grab before to show that there was no warrant.
Right.
Wasn't until we started making noise that they'd realized they'd lost AJ. But the only way I know that the policy dictates that no one is physically dispatched to go look for pretrial violators is because of Randy Wallace from Fox. Because he was the one that said there's 4,000 on any given day. There's 4,000 defendants in Harris County wearing ankle monitors, which Ryan made a great point. It's impossible to constantly track them. Crystal, I feel like, did you want to interject anything here?
Yeah, I had a question. Does anybody know who actually holds the contract for the monitoring? Because if I recall, I remember reading in the past that whoever held that contract at that point in time, I don't know who does now, it's the same company, but I read that multiple cities across the U.S. had refused to work with that specific company because of their inadequacy. So do we actually know the name? I'm not quite sure.
Sentinel Services.
Sentinel Services. Okay, because I think if we do a quick Google search, you'll be able to see what.
It was Orange County. It was Southern California somewhere. I forget, but they literally.
I think it was Orange County. I'm pretty sure it was.
What's the name?
Sentinel with an S, Sentinel Services. But Orange County kicked them out because 1 in 4 ankle monitors was glitchy. 1 in 4.
And they do not want to answer questions to anybody.
Why would they?
Multiple times.
Well, it's just like
explanations of what their little codes mean.
Oh, there's Connie. And by the way, Zoom user, that's me. That's my phone streaming to TikTok. I don't know if anyone's watching.
Oh my gosh.
That's me. Connie's coming in.
But to me, they might as well just do a bail reform like New York did and just start letting the people out without. I mean, quite honestly, at least New York, it's non-violent offenders. But
I hear that.
Oh, they were letting out violent offenders. I mean, they weren't back then. They weren't paying attention to what the heck they were doing.
Hey,
let everybody out.
I'm just talking about. I just showed a clip. Hang on 1 second. Let me turn this off.
I gotta change it.
I just showed a clip of so Andy Kahn was doing an investigation on. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Andy Kahn was doing an investigation on 1,200 accused violent felons violating ankle monitors just last year alone. So that's what we're talking about, and how we already know that nobody's tracking them. Now, Connie, this isn't live, but it will be recorded. Are you anywhere that you don't want people to know what your background looks like? Because you may want to blur that, just FYI.
No, they can't tell where I'm at. I'm outside.
Okay,
I'm at a friend's house, so.
Just checking. I don't want, because I know. So a lot going on in the family, y'all. Fun as always. But welcome, Connie. So yeah, we're just talking about that, and we're talking about Sentinel Services and how they were basically run out of Orange County because they found that 1 in 4 of their ankle monitors, so 25%, were faulty and glitchy. Where were we? Sorry, I've got so much going on at the moment. Oh, also, what else? Yeah, I just completely spaced. Talk amongst yourselves. Get me back on.
Oh, Con, you know,
I was trying to figure out how to blur the background.
Oh, you tap your screen if you're on your phone. Are you on your phone or your computer?
Computer.
So at the bottom where it says stop video, there's a little up arrow.
Yes.
And it should say choose virtual background, and you should see one that says blur.
It says disable attendee screen sharing.
Well,
I don't want to do that.
audience that is listening, and we're doing tech support right now. It's just one of those nights.
Right?
Well,
I could get an AI companion.
I mean, you can get all kinds of companions, honey. But there's one that
Hey, let's not have somebody. Oh, wait, I found one background.
background and effects. There should be one that lets you blur. It's easier on the phone. But like this PC is driving me nuts today. Ryan, you were asking Connie something?
So.
Yeah, I just asked Connie if she knew if AJ's warrant was still active. I've been looking and I can't find it.
As of right now, he's got a warrant out for his arrest. I do know that. So then I guess it's still active.
Still active?
Yeah. I'm sorry, I'm listening to y'all, but I'm stuffing Easter eggs. So.
Oh, bless your heart. Oh God, it's already
Oh,
Easter.
what? Tomorrow Easter. Today, wait, when's Easter?
Next month, but we're we're trying to stuff these early.
Go way early.
Yeah, I mean it's okay. We're trying to because we love the kids.
Wendy, I can see your kitchen, but not your face. Your kitchen is in San Francisco. The most.
Hey, this is great.
This is like COVID all over again. Yeah. Playing with. I don't know how to fix it either, Wendy. So you're. Anyway. Okay. So. Let's talk. Because I'm a little spacey. I don't know. I've had a really long day, but I really just want to end the technical issues for the first half hour are driving me nuts. But Crystal, I did want to highlight Gio's case on the show. So if everyone will mute for a minute, Crystal, if you want to just talk a little bit about Gio, how old he was when you saw him last, what the circumstances were surrounding his disappearance, and I might interject and ask some questions if you're ready.
Sure. So I last saw Jonathon December 31st, 2021. And the last anyone has heard from him was January 14th, 2022. There is a lot of different scenarios that I've kind of played out in my mind of what could have possibly happened. But I did have a family member reach out to me, a family member of apparently the people that are responsible, reach out to me a couple months after he went missing. And she was claiming that her children and children's friend had murdered Jonathon. However, at the time, I didn't know if it was actually him or not. I thought she had the wrong person. But now that we're, 2 years later, I've come to learn that the people that she was talking about were actually friends with his girlfriend. However, police have yet to talk to any of these people. I pretty much had to do most of the legwork on my own. And then there's another scenario as well. There were some people he had some issues with at the gas station across the street from our house. And they had actually showed up to my house banging on my door looking for him. And I know that he was pretty afraid of them. And he had mentioned to multiple people that they were looking for him and wanted to end his life. And I can, back all that up with all of his private messages he was sending to friends on social media and then, through his text messages. And that hasn't been followed up on either. So there's two possible scenarios, but I'm really leaning towards the first scenario because he had recently met a girl. He was staying with her in the beginning of that year that he went missing. And she claims that he just left her house and she doesn't know what happened to him. And I've only heard from her once since his disappearance. And then, like I mentioned before, come to find out the people that I had heard were responsible were friends with her. So I do think that was the scenario. I think that I'm going to go with that.
Is it possible that the people from the second scenario and the first scenario are connected in any way?
I've thought about that too. And I actually recently talked to a family member of one of the girls. And she mentioned to me that it was her cousin. It was her cousin that could have potentially been involved. And she said that she remembers this girl constantly going back and forth between here and the Woodlands. And we lived in the Woodlands at the time. So I don't know if that's just a coincidence or what was going on, but there are just a lot of different scenarios. I don't know which one to believe. But I do think
There's so many parallels between your story and AJ's. It's kind of creepy almost, like from the girlfriend to the friends wanting him dead to. So how long are we going on now? It's been
it's 2 years in January. So we're now what, March? So 24, 26 months now. But the most frustrating part is, as far as like my son's case and a lot of other families, I'm sure, missing in Houston, is the lack of communication with law enforcement. There's a big scandal right now with all the sexual assault cases not being investigated and pushed aside due to lack of personnel. And I'm just wondering, where's the outrage in regards to all the missing person cases? As far as I know, they have hundreds of cases per each investigator. And it's just something that's not talked about. And I'm just thinking, well, where's the outrage there? Why isn't anyone investigating these cases? They have to kind of pick and choose who they feel is worthy enough of investigating. And unfortunately, if your kid has any mental health issues or drug issues, then too bad, so sad. We're not wasting our time looking for your kid. And at the end of the day, that's someone's child. They're a human being. They deserve to be found regardless. And I think there should be a lot more people talking about this. Why are we not looking for our missing people in Houston?
Amen. Let me play, if y'all don't mind, let me play the clip that she's referring to, and then we'll talk about it on the other side. Let's see here. Can y'all see that?
Not yet.
Alarming admission from PD Chief Troy Finner tonight. He posted on social media that, quote,
Oh no.
significant number of adult sexual assault cases have been suspended because there weren't enough people to investigate them. Finner called that unacceptable and said he has assigned a team to look.
Okay, well, I guess y'all get the gist. Sorry, my PC is just tripping today. Okay, well, y'all get the gist. So and I can read the article.
We get into this.
Just show it, but it's not working.
He says it.
So, yeah, there were. Eric Barajas, please stop talking. Okay, so there were 1,771 sexual assaults in Houston over the last 12 months, which reflected a nearly 4% rise in the annual average over the last few years. Chief Finner said a significant number of adult sexual assault cases were suspended or put on hold due to a, quote, lack of personnel. And my question for him and for all the authority figures is, that's just the sexual assault cases. Are any missing persons cases being shuttered for the same reason? That's my big thing. I would imagine they were, and they are. And feel free to unmute and jump in if you want.
I can speak to that. I actually spoke with Jonathan's detective, and she's the head of the department. Her name's Detective Elena Claiborne. And I complained about basically his case not moving forward. I said, what do I need to do? Why is there not movement here? And she said, basically, it's a lack of resources. She said, there's one of me and I have hundreds of cases. And I want to say there's like 11 of them on the missing persons team at HPD. And she said, basically, there's just not enough. And I said, well, who do I need to talk to? And she said, it's out of their hands, that it really had to do with the way the funding, the way it's budgeted. She said, you need to speak to your elected officials. So I don't know. And go ahead, Paul.
How does it feel to be a mom of a missing loved one and hear that?
Oh, it's infuriating. It's infuriating. You watch TV and you think, you see stuff on TV and you think, oh, someone goes missing, everyone's gonna, come forward and try to look for your loved one. It's not like that. They pick and choose who they spend their time and resources on. And there's just a lot of people that their case just is not being investigated. And it's frustrating. So you feel like you're all alone trying to find answers. And sometimes the answers are sitting right there, but your hands are tied. What can you do? Like here I have names of people who supposedly murdered my child. I can't go arrest them. I can't bring them in and question them. So it's extremely infuriating. And it's like, well, why would you feel if that was your kid? They just, I don't know what to do at this point. It's just extremely frustrating and disheartening.
I'm so sorry. Hey, I'm so sorry for that. Just wanted to sit with that for a minute. But B, God, do I understand that on a visceral level? Because we literally have AJ's DNA. We know it's
Right.
we know it was at the crime scene, but there's nothing legally we can do with it. It means nothing. I mean, it means something to us, obviously, but it means nothing in the legal system. We can't get an arrest. We can't do anything with it. So, God, do I get that on a visceral level? Wendy or Ryan, did you have anything you wanted to add?
Yeah, I want to just say, first of all, I would love to know how many people are on this missing persons team in Houston because it is clearly way understaffed. And my question would be is why is it not being turned over to the Texas Rangers or the FBI? I mean, even the FBI, like, it's just insane to me. And out of the two, Shane's case, AJ's case, both of them, have past drug use or criminal histories. And now it sounds like, Crystal's son has some mental health issues. And for her to feel like because her child wasn't her, the picture perfect perfection, her child is just being swept under it just makes me sick. And I think that's the biggest reason why Wendy and I do this kind of thing. And even though we're only two people, we're trying to make a difference and try to get these stories out because what else, can we do? And as a mother with two teenage sons, I can't even fathom the thought. It makes me sick just to think about it. Like just to think about for someone's response in law enforcement to be, I'm sorry, we're understaffed. We can't help you. And then, it goes off of, things that have been done in AJ's case that may have, messed something up or made something irrelevant now. And it's like, what do you expect people to do though? Because you're not doing it. So then we're like, okay, we're going to go do it. And then we can't be used because we've tainted it or tampered with it or whatever. So it's like, damned if you do, damned if you don't. And what are families supposed to do?
The suggestion that this is all in the hands of a politician is also infuriating because we've gone there too. We've spoken with our federal elected representatives. We talked to our city council. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry to cut you off. No, I mean, I feel like HPD has a messed up like way their protocol. For an example, I know that y'all seen that yesterday or a couple of days ago, my ex sister-in-law went missing here in Houston, and they literally, it hadn't been I think it was 24 hours that she had went missing, and they jumped on it like nothing because she had bipolar and schizophrenia. So it's like if you don't have a mental problem, they won't go out and they'll just dismiss it because you don't have an issue. Just like they won't post it on they won't post it on the TV unless right then and there, unless it is a mental problem. And that's not right. Because with AJ's case, they pretty much dismissed it because they said, okay, well, he's 19, he did drugs, and he just tore his ankle off, doesn't want to be found. Y'all didn't do anything because that was y'all's opinion, instead of actually going and doing your job. And they got to go a lot of times with AJ's case.
I'm wondering, and that not that I'm defending HPD, but I'm wondering because sister-in-law's case was so fresh that they jumped on it that quickly because I mean, everyone knows how important the first 48 hours is in a missing persons case. So I want to try and take up for them, but I'm grateful they found her. I really am. I wish, but I'm wondering if, even though they've never said it, if part of the reason they didn't put any resources into AJ's case or even Gio's case is because there had already been a little time that had passed. Did you report Crystal? How soon did you report Gio missing? Do you remember?
He was reported immediately,
Yeah.
but I'm wondering if maybe they jumped on her sister-in-law's case because they've had a lot of negative publicity lately. So I don't know if it had anything to do with the mental health or if it just a lot of negative backlash.
I think it was probably a little bit of both. I think it was a little bit of both, but I think that, I mean, I don't know. Honestly, I really don't. I just know HPD, they dropped the ball a lot, because I still question why didn't they send an officer out there when he violated the exclusion zone? If they felt like he was a risk to her enough to give him an ankle monitor, why didn't they send an officer out there when he was violating?
Absolutely.
That's literally my main thing is, if y'all felt he was going to hurt her, why didn't y'all go out there and check on him?
I can speak to that because they know. They know exactly where AJ's at. They know. That's where I get conspiratorial, but I know in my soul.
But no, because I don't much agree with that, because I think they just they're not seeing it until after the fact. I don't think they're seeing these. I don't think there's something there like, oh, AJ Silva is in a no-go zone. You know what I mean? There should be someone sitting there.
Well, here's the with AJ though. With AJ, and I'll say this till I'm blue in the face. AJ's case just bleeds corruption to me, and maybe there was no one sitting there saying, "Okay, he violated it. We're going to get him immediately." But whoever gave him that ankle monitor knew that, because the charge is such a bullshit charge. It's such a bullshit charge, and I'll swear this until I'm blue in the face. The ankle monitor was given to him so the people that wanted to kill him could track him, because he often had no working phone. But he was wanted by people and people with big connections. I'll say that till I'm blue in the face and people call me crazy, but I genuinely believe that. That Harris County was run by crime rings.
He was definitely involved in some people that were I'm not gonna say names because that's gonna bring out way too much, but
I'll say it.
that no, we're not saying them.
Well, I told Danny Miner on his show the other day, so it doesn't scare me any.
There's very big players that I can connect him to. Some of them are in custody, some of them aren't, but I think it's larger than them.
Oh, absolutely larger than that.
Larger than them.
And I'll say this again. HPD in 2016 was caught working with drug traffickers, giving trade secrets, investigative secrets, all this information to the C word. And then COVID hits and you've got all these defendants out there with ankle monitors because we don't want to lock them up so they get COVID. And you've got the C word just growing in numbers because we're starting to lose officers because they're, for whatever reason, they don't want to work for HPD. There's too much corruption. There's not enough money. There's so many reasons why people are leaving the police force. And then those traffickers that were already working with HPD have now taken over HPD in Harris County. That's my feeling. That's my belief.
And the thing too is, especially Houston or, down south, whatever, the net of that is so big. I can put AJ and at least 3 other missing people all in the same bubble. That's scary.
Any connection to Gio in that bubble?
I haven't went that far yet. Because I don't know all of the people in his thing. But when you can put 3 missing people, 3 different families from different areas connected to the same people that or can prove are in criminal activity, that's scary.
Absolutely.
That is very scary. And that's why I'm just like, it's bigger than us. It's bigger than us.
Absolutely bigger than us. And I'll never forget calling the FBI to report AJ's case and then getting a death threat the next day asking me if I was the one that called the FBI. That's how big this is.
It's big.
And I will never forget the day. It was I want to say it was before Christmas, but I could be wrong. but I remember opening, because I check Houston News, well, I did at the time, almost every day. And I open up and I see headline, Paul Vasquez shot dead, Houston. I will say till I'm blue in the face that they executed that little boy to send a message to me. And I know how cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs that sounds, but it was in Cloverleaf. They literally drove up to his trailer and killed one person, and happened to be a little boy, age 7, with my name, and he's a minor, so they didn't have to release his name. Harris County chose to release his name, and I know exactly why they did. That's my feeling, but that's how big this is. And that's why I'm in fucking Hollywood right now. Forget my language.
Well, and I think that's like whenever Wendy's not saying names, I don't think it's out of fear. It's the ace in the hole that she has to hold on to that could potentially get us somewhere. And Wendy's damn good at what she does. I'll give her that. And I'm so grateful to have her as a partner. And
I appreciate y'all.
she has the slacker partner that she has, but on my end, she's good at what she does.
I wish we got Emily on. I didn't invite her, and I should have. Emily of Xavier's case. But I knew something big was going on with the connections when we found out that Diamond Alvarez and AJ knew each other. Houston's a big ass city. For those two to be connected, my followers were the ones that told me that. That to me, Connie, you're yawning for everybody to see. But that
when I saw that, but then I made a bigger connection.
Oh,
and I'll have to tell you that.
Yeah, we'll say that off the air here
later. But
now, Chris,
it's scary.
I know. Tell the audience a little bit about what all you've done for Gio, because I know there was the billboard, and I mean, anything else you've done, or even talk about the billboard.
Yeah, I put a billboard up for Jonathan, just trying to bring attention to his case. I went to most of the media outlets in the Houston area, try to put a story out. What else? I've done my own investigative work. And the odd thing, speaking about connections, is while I was investigating my son's case, I had reached out to everyone that he was last known to be associated with. Well, one of the people, I don't want to say names or say what the relationship was, but I did reach out to somebody. I found the phone number through public information. Harris County District Clerk lists, like the address and phone numbers, that kind of thing. So it was a young man that he was arrested with a week before he was missing. And I reached out to someone associated with that person, and I was able to get a lot of information. And through my investigative work, I was able to get information on Emily's son, Xavier de Golado. And at the time, I didn't realize who Xavier was, but it was connected to the girl that my son was seeing. And apparently, from what I'm told, that the girl that he was seeing was also involved with Xavier's murder. I was given information that I know to be true because I relayed it back to my son's detective. And after she spoke with Xavier's detective, she reached back out to me and she said, "How did you know that they were standing behind the fence?" And I said, "Because that's the information I was given." And so when she confirmed that that was true, there's no way anyone could know that his murder was not captured on surveillance. So, and the only reason I know is because I was told. So she confirmed, yeah, that was true. And then I knew for sure that, yes, this female was absolutely 100% involved in Xavier's murder. And she happened to be friends with Xavier, very good friends, childhood friends. And my son had happened to just start dating her within that 2-week period. So when I heard that information, I knew for sure she was no good and involved with some bad stuff. But as far as what I've done, it's just a lot of investigative work, phone calls, background checks, going out to different businesses, asking questions, places that he would frequent or associations that he talked to, a lot of things like that. But as far as like social media, I really haven't, just because of information that I received was so scary to me. And I was worried for my family's safety so much that we actually left Texas so that if I go full force and really try to get to the bottom of things, that I won't be in danger, because I was pretty afraid while I was there. I was always watching my back, looking over my shoulder. I was very suspicious all the time. And it's just not a good way to live. It was just me and my husband. I wouldn't mind, but I have a small child. And that really concerned me, because the things I started learning about Jonathan's lifestyle was very concerning to me. And I thought, wow, this is dangerous. I don't want to get myself into trouble. So I've kind of remained quiet. I mean, I put information out there, but not enough to the point where I'm going to get myself in trouble. But I feel like at this point, I'm kind of up against the wall because HPD is not helping me, and I really want answers. And this isn't a way to live either. Not having answers and going to bed every night, not knowing where your kid's at. It's just the worst. So I feel like, well, I'm damned if I do, damned if I don't. So I want answers at this point. So I'm willing to put myself out there. And I feel like I'm safe enough and far enough away from Texas that I can do that.
I totally get that. I wish my family would heed your warning and move, but I can't force them out of Houston. But y'all, just FYI, Crystal does have a full-time job as well. And as does Wendy, as does Ryan, as does Connie. So we are all full-time workers and also full-time criminal investigators at this point because HPD just will not. I mean, I vacillate between whether they're staffed enough to do their jobs or they just don't want to. And I'm kind of torn with that. I think at some point I believed that they were short-staffed or understaffed when it came to AJ's case, but I'll never forget that meeting that Connie went to. They said they had 80 investigators working on AJ's case. They don't literally have 80 investigators even in missing persons. So
Yeah, that's a lie. Not 80 of them.
Not even that. Like, I don't know if I think Miss Crystal was there at that the what is it, Harris County Day for the Missing or something right there at that building. The very first time that I went, they literally said there's not enough detectives out there to be looking for people's kids. Then they said if your loved one goes missing, get somebody, one of your family members, to be like the one person, the spokesperson, to go, the advocate. There you go, the advocate for y'all. And then they actually say if you can get information because it will be helpful. I literally said, well, what if the detectives don't like the person that we chose to be the advocate? Oh, okay, well, we don't know what can happen, or we don't. Well, that's that. I guess get somebody else. Then on top of that, okay, but when you try to help or try to get information, you're interfering with with that, and then when you get called names like shameless and vile.
Hi, that's me.
So I mean, if there's not enough detectives to do their job, I mean, I don't know what to say, but don't sit here and lie and say there's 80 detectives working on my son's case when we know damn well there ain't 80 detectives working.
Connie, I would be surprised if there's anybody working on AJ's case or anyone working on Jonathan's case. I think they put all their energy into people that are, young, innocent, a mom with kids or a dad that's straight-laced. They're not spending their time on anybody with drug history or mental health issues or criminal issues. And I know that to be true because look at my son's case, look at AJ's case.
Yeah.
And
I have a 16-year-old. I have a 16-year-old runaway that I've been working on. Law enforcement's not doing anything.
Yeah.
Tell me more. Say more about the case.
Ashley. So Ashley's been missing. She's ran away 10 times since December. I've reached out to the media. I've reached out to a couple other organizations. I don't know what the detective is saying, and it's kind of disheartening because when I reach out to the bigger organizations, hey, can you help me? They come back and there's more going on to the whole family thing at home. I'm assuming they know more than what I do, apparently, because when they came back and told me, Mom needs to come up with a plan on what to do with Ashley when she comes home. That's all I got. I almost sat here and cried. This girl is 16 years old. She's running around Forum Park with God knows who, supposedly left with a boy, which I do have a video that's she left with a female. We know females herd people into trafficking. We don't know if that's something that she's going through or not. law enforcement will not even speak to mom now, which,
Why am I not?
it's sad.
Why am I not surprised?
There's more to it, but I don't want to go put
No. Sure, that's fine. And you are able to say her first and last name, right? Because she is missing.
Ashley Granger.
Oh,
I
duh.
don't,
I
I
posted.
don't know if I'm even saying her last name right.
No, you're close. Granja. It's hard to say.
Yeah.
But
So,
yeah, I did post about her. I need to update that. But damn it, I was going to say something. My brain is just not working today. I don't know if it's just I'm tired. But Ryan, did you have anything to add there?
Oh, not that one.
Well, I mean, do you have another one?
Oh, I do have another one, but real quick, what's the last name of this Xavier kid? I keep wanting to ask that, but I don't.
Diego Yado. Degollado. I know them by heart.
From here.
I can put it in the chat too.
I think I have his name.
Yeah, I have it.
That's not from Houston. I actually have one that's near me. So in Pennsylvania, he's from Lewistown. Shane Workman. He was 31. He left home that he shared with his parents on the 25th of April in 2017. And he was supposed to be going to the local sheets, and there's no he was never heard or seen from again. Wendy has worked this case as well as myself, and there's some connections to Harrisburg, which is obviously it's our state capital, but there's a lot of hug activity.
You can say it on Zoom, honey. You can say the word. We're on Zoom. And also for the audience, though, Sheetz is like a Buc-ee's. It's a huge gas station on the East Coast.
Yeah, so he never made it there. Again, just like with these cases from Houston, the dad had spent all of his savings and had listened to psychics and had listened to anybody that he would give him any information, and drove all over the state and all these different places, spent all kinds of money, had a friend come out. Wendy and I don't think that it was like a certified cadaver dog, but it was some kind of like hound, like a bloodhound or something. And they do believe that Shane's scent was tracked to a intersection right by the house. Again, there's a suspicious girl in this situation too. Shane had an extensive criminal record and a past of substance abuse. So, it's unfortunate because this is just all across the country that, people that, have substance abuse problems or criminal histories, to think that I could go missing and my children would, ultimately never know what happened to their mother because I have a past criminal record and a past substance abuse. That's just unacceptable. Shane is a father. He has a daughter. And just people just don't vanish. Wendy does have location that I think we're going to search here in the spring or summer, but it's state land. So we have to get the state's okay to go on the land and stuff like that. But, it's unfortunate. Another case that has so many similarities in a different part of the country, in a different state. So.
And why did you want to get involved with Voices for Vanished? Why did you want to get involved with that, honestly? And what does it do for you?
Well, after my cousin Jake took his own life, I found different groups. I bounced around. Nothing felt right. And I felt like I had this unfulfilled need to do something more, to be part of something bigger. And like I said, I found like 5 or 6 groups, nothing fit. And I went to TikTok to share my acute, because I suffered from acute grief after losing Jake. And I went to TikTok to share that story. And I had stumbled across Paul's video that he had shared of AJ. And I think that day, we both kind of like connected with each other spiritually. And, we bounced around the idea of doing something with AJ's Angels. And then I met Wendy, and, we went this route, and then, decided to use AJ's name for our merch in our store that'll be coming up hopefully this year. So I just needed to feel like Jake's life he wasn't gone for nothing, I guess, is my thing. And I feel like if he was here today, that he would absolutely be a part of this and would be helping me with this. I don't know that I would be doing it today if he was still here, but even though he isn't missing, that he took his own life, to me, this is something that I can do, to make me feel like I'm doing something for the greater good. So, for people that aren't getting national coverage and their stories aren't getting heard. So that's how I came into this. And I know you had asked me the other day, I said why, or what have I learned from this? So this is a question I've been thinking about since you asked me that. And I've learned there's been so many positive and negative things that I've learned in this journey. Not everything's what it seems. That's the biggest thing. That starting from scratch is the best way. And I learned that from Wendy, that starting completely over, and not taking these cases where the family or where a private investigator or another agency left off, but starting at the very beginning. And you could see things that other people didn't see. You can see things in a different light. To not burn important bridges. You never know when you're going to need them. That secrets truly do keep us sick and cases unsolved. There's a lot of families I know that don't want to give information or are honestly answer questions because they feel like it makes their loved one not look, good, or makes them look bad or something. And secrets in this line of work, it never amounts to anything good. And then lastly is that I've lost so much trust and respect for mankind. I don't know how Wendy does it, and I said this to Paul a lot, but I can't work these cases all the time because it really takes a toll on my mental health. I don't know how Wendy does it, but to work with these families and the parents, and I can't do it. So I do it to the best of my ability. And when I feel like it's really hitting home where I'm shutting down, I have to step back and do more of the financial stuff. But I've really lost my respect for mankind, I think. And that makes me sad because I'm on such a spiritual journey. So there's good and there's bad. But the things that I've seen in this journey are just, I never thought I'd see them. So, but I put a lot of thought in that question. So I wanted to share that with you.
Thank you for that. I appreciate that. And Miss Wendy, why did you want to get involved in Voices for Vandersman? What does it do?
What does it do for me? It makes me feel good to help people. But I'm nosy. So the biggest thing to start out doing this, you have to be nosy. And, it's very hard to find somebody that has the passion to do the research, the commitment to the family. It's very hard. Trust me. I've had so many people offer to help or come in and help. And then, I'm left by myself, which is okay. It's okay. But, it makes me feel good. Now, I can't say that, I have a missing loved one. So, as far as the way everybody feels about their loved one being missing, I've not been in those shoes. I can imagine how it feels. I would know or love to know if someone in my family come up missing, I had people to help. So I want to be that person. I want to be that voice for the missing person. I'm here for the family to a sense, but that missing person, that's the person, they have no voice. You need to be objective when you're going into this. And I just feel that we don't have enough people that want to help in the correct way. They're all looking for, publicity or whatever. Not everybody, but you get those people.
And
I
just say
don't
that
wanna
again.
I'm not that person. I'd rather sit in the background and do all the research. I'm the little nerd, whatever. But it makes me feel good to help people. And this is one way I can give back to the community, and Voices. I'm with First Priority still. I will help them, all day, every day. But I kind of wanted to back away from that. And here I don't have to ask anybody per se, to do anything. I can just go do it and I don't have to wait for answers, So that's why that's why I kind of veered off to start this or become this. And I mean, it is what it is. I
Well,
love first priority.
let me
But-
thank both of you. Let me thank both of you for doing what you do, for volunteering. Ryan, especially, you've been here since the freaking beginning, girl. Practically, and you don't get paid. Like you don't get anything. Hell, you've sent me stuff when I'm really struggling, but I've never sent you anything because I'm still waiting on your address. But having said that, but you never had to do that. And what I love about the both of you, as opposed to some people that have reached out wanting to help, is that you don't make promises you can't keep. You're not trying to build platforms off of AJ's name. You're not. But that first one, you don't make promises you can't keep, because I cannot tell you how freaking hurtful that is. Maybe Crystal or Connie can speak to this too. What does it feel like when people come and they want to help, and maybe they've got a platform, maybe they don't, but they just come and they want to help, and they fill your head with all these promises, like, I'm going to have a dinner, we're going to buy a billboard, we're going to, who else? There was another woman that said, oh, we've got Benjamin Crump is my best friend, and I can get him as a lawyer. Like, and Crystal or Connie chime in, but what does it feel like? And I know Crystal, I know both of you have been victim to this at some point, but what does that feel like for you when you've got these volunteers wanting to help, but it's very clear that they have other agendas?
To answer your question, I feel like a lot of times I think people just want to be a part of something and try to build themselves up, not really knowing anybody, because we've had people try to help us. Oh, well, we can do this and we can do that, and just give false hopes. And that's not right. And as far as, like people, I don't know, for me, like, I have my bad days. There's times where I just get so depressed and I just want to cry or whatever. And I don't like when people, like they see me and they just, I guess when I cry, I don't want people to feel pity for me. So don't come and sit there and give me a hug, because, or if I tell you, right now is not a good time, don't come give me a hug, because then I'm gonna break down and cry, and I don't want that. So but I just think that some people just need to stay, like, don't give people hope that you're going to help and not do nothing, and because it does take a toll on a mother who is grieving, or who is trying to get closure to find their child, and they're not getting the help they need from the authorities, but a complete stranger wants to help. You know what I'm saying?
Or come to an uncle who's obviously battling substance abuse and promise to help get them into treatment several times, and then do nothing. Like, especially when he's not asking for help. Anyways, Crystal, if you could answer, if you want to answer that.
Yeah, unfortunately, I haven't really had too many people. The one person I can say would be you, Paul, but you pretty much have been very supportive and there for me. Same with you, Wendy. We've had a couple really nice conversations, so I appreciate your time as well. But I've been kind of closed up, I guess. I haven't really.
Well, that's also because you're not on social media. I think that's probably
Right.
your benefit in that regard. I didn't even think about that when I asked you. But yeah, we've had, and it's not just influencers, though there have been, but there have been like people coming out of the woodwork, psychics, and first it was the psychics, and then it was, and some of them were very helpful, and some of them were not.
Right.
Some of them led us way off course. But then there was people who claimed to be activists, and they had us going to their apartments. They were going to lead marches. They were going to get Ben Crump. And yeah, it was, I don't know what that one was about, but then we have had the influencers that want to build their platform on us. And it just, at the end of the day, to anyone hearing this from a grieving uncle, please don't make promises you can't keep. And please don't come out of the woodworks to volunteer to do things that aren't being asked of you. Like, I've never asked anyone to do a GoFundMe for me. So therefore, if you're going to volunteer to do it, at least do it. But anyways, that's a whole nother tangent I can get on. Crystal, I do still want, because we've got to wrap up, but I still would like to have you on the show and do a whole hour dedicated to Gio, because he deserves that. I will have much better technology ready when that happens. is what I'd like to hear everyone answer this question before we hang up here for the night. If you can tell someone that's scrolling past one of your social media videos or seeing your story for the first time and they want to get involved, how would you suggest someone, just a layperson, get involved and help? How can they help your story or your agency?
Like, share, comment, all of the above. Reach out to the organization that you're interested in. Every organization, I guarantee you, is looking for volunteers. Especially if, like I said, if you have the passion to do this, you don't find that very often. Jump in, just help. They need foot searchers, whatever. Get involved. Get involved is the biggest thing. And it's sad that more people will share a dog post of a missing dog that's been, whatever, but they will not share a missing person flyer. Drives me nuts. That's
Thank
that's
you,
all I got
Wendy.
to say. Dang it.
No, I agree, Wendy, and I think that people don't realize how big just a share or any interaction at all with posts on both social media platforms boosts algorithms and makes a difference. Say, well, I don't have the time, or I don't have the money, or I don't have this. Like, share, comment, post, just support us, come into our lives. You know, through our webpage, if you go on voicesforvanish.com, our volunteer forms on there, our donate buttons on there. We do everything. We're a nonprofit. We pay for absolutely everything out of pocket. So a lot of things can be found on our page, but like, please make sure if you're committing to something that you're gonna really do it, because there are moms and uncles and loved ones that are behind these missing person cases that are counting on us to work these cases. So that's all I got for that subject.
Thank you, Ryan. Crystal, did you want to chime in?
Yeah, I think I can speak to what they're saying. Obviously, just share the story, comment. That's very helpful. But I think the most important thing for all of the missing person cases in Houston is to get involved in regards to how the funds are allocated to law enforcement. I know that's a big thing. I know I'm talking about defunding the police, but when you're talking about there's not a detective available to assist in your loved one's cases, I mean, people need to realize that when you defund the police, you're also taking away valuable resources to our community. And we need those detectives, because what if it's your loved one, your son, your daughter, your mother, your father? And unfortunately, they're going to pick and choose where they spend their time because they have limited resources. So I think as a community, we need to get involved and demand that we have the right elected officials in place so we can have funding for law enforcement, so we can get our loved ones' cases investigated appropriately.
Amen to that. Connie, did you want to say anything?
Sorry, I was trying to wait for the music to go off. No, just pretty much just share, share any story that, anything that we post, just share it. Don't create your own, speculations about what happened, and before, I don't know, in a way, just share it, duet it, like it, everything that y'all basically said, that's all anybody really can do, or hey, even a simple, how y'all doing? Are y'all doing okay? Or, how is your day going? Just a simple asking a question would be fine too.
And it's all free. Like, all of that is free. It does not cost one thing other than maybe 2 seconds of your time to just like, share, follow, whatever.
Amen. And just to piggyback on Connie's point, yes, don't go creating narratives about cases unless you absolutely have facts to back those up, because there's been a lot of that too. And Ryan hinted on the dad of the missing gentleman in Pennsylvania, or in the area where Ryan's located, having to use his own money and reach out to different psychics. Hey, I'm a psychic. I hate the label, but I don't go just like telling random people, hey, your body's over here or there. Like, it just, and nor do I take money from people like that that are asking for help with their cases. So just be having the desire to help is great, but ask the family. My suggestion would be to ask the family how you can be of the best help, as opposed to just volunteering your psychic abilities or whatever. Not need that or want that. Just FYI. I've had so many videos I've seen of psychics and other influencers running on and on about AJ's case, and they don't know what they're talking about. I've come across even lately like so many YouTube videos that I didn't even know existed, which I'm grateful. I'm grateful that people are invested in the case. That much I'm grateful for. But putting out narratives that are not close to factual at all, or I think they're more damaging than they are helpful. So maybe reach out to the family directly, or if they have a representative, a Facebook group, join the Facebook group and see how you can get involved. I will get Ryan and Wendy Voices for Vantage information and put it in the description of the podcast so they can just click it from the episode whenever they go to listen to the episode. I'll probably add a few extra things to this episode because we did have some technical issues at the beginning. But ladies, thank you so much for joining me. Crystal, I will reach out to you individually to schedule lunch because we need to do that because Crystal lives on my neck of the woods, y'all. And just schedule Gio's episode because I really do want to do an episode on Gio, an actual episode dedicated to Gio. Does anyone have anything they want to add before I shut this down?
Yes. I just want Crystal real quick. Is it okay if Wendy and I work your son's case? Is that all right with you?
Yes, absolutely. I don't want to take your guys' time though. I know you're super busy and have a lot of other cases you're working on.
And it's so we do have like some papers and stuff. So is it okay if your contact? Well, I think Wendy has your contact, but if we get
absolutely. I would be very appreciative.
Okay, perfect. It was so
Look
nice.
at y'all.
You too.
Come on, teamwork. Anyone else? Oh, hello, doggy. All right, ladies. I love you. Stay safe. I will be in touch with y'all. Bye.
Bye.
I hope you enjoyed that interview. Yes, there were some tech issues, but it was we tried to do it on a live and then we ended up going to Zoom, but now I think I have Zoom figured out in order to go live. Y'all stay tuned. I've got some good episodes coming up. Please support the show. Also support Voices for Vanish. You'll find their information in the description of the podcast that you're listening to or watching. Also, this is not free to me. So if you would consider subscribing to the show, you can have a like a donation no more than $3 a month. It would just help me fund the show. So this is a passion project. I'm trying to boost stories of missing and murdered loved ones, Black and brown folks, as well as telling the stories of survivors. And it requires money to do that. But I love y'all. Thank you for listening. Until next time, stay in the light.
My soul is tired of lies, so around every single syllable.